The CEO's billion-dollar deal was moments from collapse, investors already whispering betrayal, foreign executives rising from their seats until a quiet voice echoed across the boardroom, and all eyes turned to the janitor's daughter. What happened next turned a forgotten girl into a global phenomenon. Subscribe now for more shocking real-life dramas that prove heroes are often hidden in plain sight. Asterisk, no. Expected the biggest international merger in the company's 100-year history to hinge on a teenage girl in paint-streaked sneakers, an frayed hoodie, who spent most of her time reading library books in the janitor's storage closet. But as the mahogany-paneled conference room buzzed with panic and phones lit up with urgent texts and board members stared at each other in rising dread, the CEO, a man famed for ruthless calm and calculated power, began to sweat through his $1,000 suit. Realizing too late that the interpreter scheduled for this historic meeting had missed her flight, that their backup had fallen sick in Paris, and that none of his elite team of executives, lawyers, or marketing heads spoke a word of French beyond croissant, while seated at the table across from him, 4 stone-faced French investors prepared to walk out, their patience running dry. The deal worth billions now crumbling before his eyes until, without warning, a clear and confident voice spoke out from the far end of the room, perfectly translating the final proposal with crisp elegance and gentle authority, making heads whip around as the CEO blinked in disbelief and the French CEO paused, stunned, before nodding slowly in approval. And that was when everyone saw her, Alina, the janitor's daughter, 17, with wide eyes that belied a mind like a razor and a gift for languages, honed not in Ivy League halls but through sleepless nights, devouring foreign novels and YouTube lectures while waiting for her father to finish mopping the 35th floor. And as the CEO scrambled to figure out who she was, the French team smiled for the first time that morning, one of them even clapping softly before pulling out his pen to sign the initial agreement. Just like that, the mood shifted, tension melting into admiration, while Elena, who had only entered the room to return a folder someone had dropped, found herself swarmed with gratitude and shock. And though she tried to disappear back into the hallway, the CEO called after her, demanded she stay, begged her to help finish the meeting, offered her a seat beside him. Before long, she was translating effortlessly between legal jargon and business metaphors like a seasoned diplomat, while investors nodded and murmured approval, some even laughing at her witty phrasing. And when the deal was sealed 2 hours later with champagne and congratulations, the CEO turned to her and asked where she had studied, and when she told him nowhere, he frowned, confused, till her father stepped into the doorway, still wearing his janitor uniform, eyes wide with pride and disbelief, and murmured that she had taught herself everything between his night shifts and hospital visits for her late mother. And silence fell over the room, thick with awe, but the twists weren't over yet, because by the end of the week, Alina had gone viral after a security guard leaked the footage. Social media ablaze with hashtags like #JanitorsDaughterSavesTheDeal. And interview requests flooded in with news anchors praising her poise and self-taught brilliance, and Ivy League schools offering her full scholarships, while the CEO, now hailed as a visionary for discovering her, offered her a permanent place in the company's international communications team, private tutor, and a corporate apartment. But when she declined, saying she wanted to study first on her own terms, he respected her even more and created a foundation in her name to help underprivileged youth access education. And months later, during a UN summit, when translation equipment failed mid-session and dignitaries fumbled in confusion, a familiar voice once again rose calmly from the back of the room, bridging language and culture with grace. And as world leaders turned to see the girl in the gray blazer, now confident and commanding, they had no idea she was once just the janitor's daughter who dared to speak when giants fell silent. Subscribe now to witness more stories where destiny finds the most unlikely voices and turns them into legends. Asterisk.